This is a Dayton 24/7 Now Code Red weather alert.
And we remain under that code red weather alert tonight as we have yet another bitterly cold day across the Miami Valley.
So we want to give you a live look from our EcoPlumber sky cam now. Below zero wind chills and more snow could be on its way. So let's go over to meteorologist Tim Boyd, who's in for Natalie tonight, what we can expect.
Did you guys realize, just see that it's not dark. I just realized it's not dark. We're moving in the right direction. Okay, that just made me really happy. Single digit temperatures Wednesday morning is what we are expecting. That is why we have this code red in place. Winds around 10 to 20 miles per hour in the morning will make wind chills feel about 10 to 20 below zero. So really frigid conditions. You know, we've been dealing with this for a couple days now, but tomorrow morning we're really expecting this really like ultra cold Arctic air. Wind chill advisory is in place for that reason until 10 a.m. tomorrow, and that is for the entire Miami Valley. A few areas were left out yesterday, but this new advisory includes the entire region.
Well, schools, they are already starting to close for tomorrow all because of the expected temperatures. Dayton Public Schools making the announcement on social media this afternoon. We got a full list of those closings scrolling at the bottom of your screen, and we'll continue to update as they come in.
We've already stated that after this hearing that we have charged the director and the deputy director to do a full investigation, and I think that would be when it should be addressed.
I'd
like to proceed
You're not going to put that on the record.
With the protest hearing. Can
I have a copy of this letter that my opposing counsel has that I don't have?
Now, shocking allegations tonight coming out of a public hearing to disqualify former Trotwood Mayor Mary McDonald from the March ballot. McDonald, who is a longtime Democrat, is trying to run as a Republican for Montgomery County Commissioner. She's being accused of not following the proper steps to change parties. But it was what happened at today's hearing that really set her supporters off. Lydia Bice was there. Now, Lydia, I understand that a confidential document was actually leaked to her opposition.
That's right. And let me tell you, this meeting was definitely tense. So tonight I've confirmed with the Board of Elections that they are investigating exactly who leaked this document. And now I want to start at the beginning of this. So the protest to disqualify McDonald from the March primary race was filed by Montgomery County Democratic Party Chairman Mohammed Al-Hamdani and a Republican named Brenda Blauser. A hearing was held on Tuesday to determine if former Trotwood mayor and former Democrat Mary McDonald should be able to run as a Republican in March. But when the lawyer representing the protesters mentioned a certain document, things took a turn.
The director is asking you.
I'm sorry.
Who did you receive that legal memorandum from?
I don't remember, but I think probably from Mr. Lieberman would be the best of my recollection.
Do you know how Mr. Lieberman received that private communication? That is privileged information for the board, and the board needed to waive the privilege to give to anybody.
Lieberman is an attorney for Democratic Chairman Mohammed Al-Hamdani, but he's also married to Debbie Lieberman, who is running against Mary McDonald for county commissioner. Right now, it isn't clear how he got that document. Ohio Representative Phil Plummer, who supports former Mayor McDonald, says that this isn't the first time Board of Elections has had an issue with leaked documents.
Same as my race. They leaked to my opponent that his petitions were invalid, so he withdrew them. Now he's filing as a write-in candidate. Second leak in the past month down here at the Board of Elections.
We wanted to know how this information was leaked, but all the Board of Elections would tell us today is that they are going to launch an investigation. Former Mayor McDonald says none of this is fair to her in the slightest.
Someone illegally put information out into this side of protest that my attorneys did not have and others did not have. And that really says that there are problems here in this office.
At the end of the hearing, 2 of the Board of Elections members voted against Mary McDonald and 2 voted in favor. So now the official vote goes to the Secretary of State. McDonald says she's optimistic.
I'm going to work as hard as I can to make sure that I bring a level of light to this particular office that I think needs to happen as soon as possible.
So after today's hearing, we went in the Board of Elections office to try to interview one of the directors, but they weren't available, and I was told that I would hear from them tomorrow. Now, we will keep trying to get in contact with them about this document leak and the investigation that they plan to launch. Back to you.
Lydia, thank you. A man shot dead Friday near the Greater Dayton Recreation Center has now been identified. The Montgomery County coroner identified him as 20-year-old Isaiah Murray. Murray was shot on an outdoor basketball court. Roosevelt Elementary School was then placed under lockdown but was lifted soon after. That suspect has not yet been located. Dayton police are continuing to investigate.
Doctors will help decide whether a woman accused of shooting her grandchild is mentally able to stand trial. Chelsea Sick has new information on this case.
Prosecutors tell us that baby's condition is improving, but that's all that they would tell us. We know that baby had previously been in critical condition, but we want you to take a look at this video. 43-year-old Mia Harris made another appearance in court this afternoon. She faces 5 felony counts, including felonious assault charges. Harris did not speak during her arraignment. Her attorney, David Albrecht, filed a not guilty and not guilty by reason of insanity plea on her behalf. The judge then ordered a competency evaluation. On December 9th, police responded to the Liberty Township townhouse where Harris lived with her family. Detective Dan Turner previously testified everyone in the home had been asleep right before that shooting started. He says Harris first started attacking another woman living in that townhouse. The detective says Harris told them her family was trying to take her money. She also allegedly told detectives that wasn't her grandchild. Detectives also said that Harris apparently told them, quote, sorry, not sorry in regards to that shooting. Now, Harris will stay in jail pending that competency evaluation. That hearing regarding that competency is scheduled for February 27th.
That was Chelsea Sick reporting. And tonight, 2 Cincinnati area state representatives hope to test a unique approach to reduce chronic absenteeism in some Ohio schools. They want to pay kids to go to class. Republican Bill Seitz and Democrat Danny Saushin want to fund a pilot program offering cash incentives for school attendance. House Bill 348 would let districts with chronic absentee rates apply for 2 of their schools in the program. State leaders would pick 1 urban and 1 rural district. Half of the kindergartners and half of the 9th graders would be given a control group and would not receive incentives. The other half would get cash for reaching 90% attendance. The state would test 3 options, including giving kids $25 every 2 weeks, $150 at the end of each quarter, or $500 at the end of the school year.
We've tried just about everything. They've tried pizza days. They've tried other incentives. And so this is a way to say, how about this? You catch more flies with honey than vinegar, is what I was always told. So let's see if this might work.
Seitz says there's evidence programs like this that they can work, and if so, it can be expanded. If not, the state would be out the $1.5 million needed to fund it for 2 years. And it has been nearly a year since the massive train derailment that created an environmental disaster in East Palestine and Northeast Ohio. Ohio's 2 U.S. senators introduced a bill intended to toughen railroad safety standards, but it appears stalled in Congress. James Pilcher has been looking into the status of the Railway Safety Act and tells us what he's found.
The Railway Safety Act was introduced by Senators Vance and Brown. Where do you stand on that bill? There's some talk it might not even make the floor and that there's Republican opposition to it.
We haven't fully evaluated the bill because it hasn't come to the floor. I do think that there have to be controls on, when the bearings get hot and the warnings. To me, it's always important, do we have the rules that should have been in place to have stopped this, or do new rules need to be in place? And I guess I don't know that answer yet.
That's Republican Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky about the pending Railway Safety Act, saying he's open to the idea of the recommended safety legislation. It passed out of committee last May, but has yet to get a floor vote almost a year after the East Palestine derailment of a Norfolk Southern train caused a massive chemical spill and burn-off. Bill sponsors J.D. Vance and Sherrod Brown of Ohio previously told me they were working with Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer to get a floor vote. It takes 60 votes for debate to end on a bill in the Senate once it reaches the floor, meaning at least 9 Republicans would need to vote yes. Representatives of both senators said Tuesday negotiations are still underway to bring the bill to the full Senate, but no timetable is yet set. Vance also previously told me he has enough of those GOP votes. But Friday, the Washington website The Hill reported GOP Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell from Kentucky is opposed and is fighting any vote from reaching the floor, making its passage uncertain. I tried calling and emailing representatives from both McConnell and Schumer Tuesday, letting them know I would be citing that report. Schumer's office did not get back to me in time for this story. And a spokeswoman for McConnell said she'd alert me if the senator had anything to say. This is James Pilcher.
Former President Donald Trump won big in the Iowa caucuses last night, but turnout wasn't so big. Adam, at the Now desk, how much was it actually down?
Pretty significantly, relatively speaking. Just over 108,000 voters showed up to vote. Now, compare that to the 2016 GOP caucuses, 187,000 showed up. Go back even further, 122,000 came out in 2012. Now, this could be caused by a few things, according to experts. That includes these sub-zero temperatures we're all dealing with and the high likelihood Trump was going to win anyway.
Vivek Ramaswamy is out of the Republican presidential race tonight. The entrepreneur made that announcement last night that he would suspend his campaign. This comes after finishing fourth in the Iowa caucuses.
There's no path for me to be the next president absent things that we don't want to see happen in this country.
Ramaswamy is now endorsing former President Donald Trump and says he plans to campaign for him in New Hampshire.
So that leads us to our question of the day today. For today's question, we want to know, is Donald Trump the inevitable Republican presidential nominee? You can share your opinion by voting in the Dayton247now.com poll. Just click on the question of the day heading in the News tab.
And now that the Iowa caucus is over, what happens next? Scott Thuman breaks it down for us coming up in just a few minutes. Iowa made its decision for Republican candidate. Coming up, what's next for the race to the Oval Office?
Also, the cold is not closing everything. The local food pantry choosing to stay open despite the frigid temperatures.
And more on that cold weather and the chance for a few snow showers later this week coming up in your full forecast. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
After this latest round of storms, more than half the country is now covered by snow. From the ice storm that's left trees coated in Oregon to the light snow in Jasper, Alabama. From Chattanooga, Tennessee, where one dachshund did its best to play, to Washington, D.C. for the first measurable snow in 2 years. And talk about icicles, check out what's hanging off rocks in Central Texas.
Listen to Off the Radar. New episodes every Tuesday. Find it wherever you get your podcasts.
With the Iowa caucuses now in the books and New Hampshire voting in just a week, this is when campaign season really gets chaotic, and the race may look much different very soon, including who's in and who's out. Scott Thuman is on the trail in a snowy Iowa with more.
He said he was going to win big, and it turns out Donald Trump did just that and then some, taking the state by more than any Republican in history. Now the candidates take this race east to New Hampshire, which will have a huge say in what happens next.
The big night is going to be in November when we take back our country, and truly we do make our country great again. Thank you.
Riding high from landing the first big blow in this brutal campaign, Donald Trump off to New Hampshire for next Tuesday's primary, which just a week ago looked very different, seen as a four-way fight before Chris Christie dropped out amid calls to consolidate the field. And then Monday night, Vivek Ramaswamy also calling it quits.
I called Donald Trump to tell him that I congratulated him on his victory, and now going forward, he will have my full endorsement.
But if the polls hold true, it could be a slightly closer contest than Iowa was. On average, Trump still has a sizable 13-point lead over Nikki Haley, but nowhere near the roughly 30-point difference he enjoyed in Iowa.
And that was Scott Thuman reporting. All right, so you saw how cold it was in Iowa. It's obviously cold here. It's cold everywhere. I mean, look at the current temperatures.
Yeah, deep Arctic temperatures here lingering with us. 10 degrees right now. It's absolutely frigid out there. And when you add the breeze to it, the wind chills are even worse, and that's why we are under a wind chill advisory tonight and into the morning tomorrow. Wind chills right now already sitting in the negatives. -5 is what it feels like in Dayton and Troy. As you head up towards Salina, Wapakoneta, we're looking like -7. But there is a silver lining. We do have that chance for some snow later this week, and the weekend looks a bit cold, but when you take a look at our 7-day, we are finally starting to see relief. You can see the light at the end of the tunnel. We have a cold rest of the week. Weekend gets really cold too after we have the system pass on Friday. We drop back down into the single digits. Friday night, we're looking at temperatures near 0 to 5 degrees. And as we head towards Sunday, 24, and then as we hit Monday next week, we finally jump back up above that freezing mark.
With so many closures around due to the cold, With God's Grace wants you to know they are braving the cold and will still be holding their mobile food pantry tomorrow. It's going to be held from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Springfield Drive in Dayton. They ask you to have your ID ready to make it easier for crews to sign you in. Volunteers will be loading cars. They're also needed, though, to load those cars. If you'd like to volunteer, you're asked to arrive around 9 a.m. and dress warm. A bipartisan group of lawmakers hammered out a long-awaited expansion of the child tax credit. Adam, back at that Now desk. So what does this mean?
So the package itself is about $78 billion. Along with enhancing the child tax credit, it would also restore several business tax breaks and boost funding for affordable housing and disaster relief. Now, the bill does have a long way to go, though, before going into effect. Despite being bipartisan, it was not negotiated by top congressional leadership. So you can expect debate on the floor of both houses before a final bill is written and approved.
A story now from our partners at the Dayton Business Journal. A Huber Heights medical practice has moved locations to a larger space after a growth in demand. Dayton Respiratory Center's Huber Heights location recently moved to Brant Pike in Huber Heights, not far from the previous location. The space will maximize efficiency and flow, allowing patient care to remain a priority. This is one of a new company's locations. We have all the details right now at Dayton247now.com. You can find this story plus others like it under the Dayton Business Journal heading in the News tab.
Community leaders across the Miami Valley continuing to join together to combat hunger in the area. The Super Bowl of Caring is helping to eliminate child hunger in Dayton. Our partners will be accepting food and monetary donations throughout the area. Those donations will then be distributed to 3 local organizations: the Food Bank, For Love of Children, or Flock, and the House of Bread. You can contribute by taking out your phone, scan the QR code, make a donation. The donation drive ends February 12th.
Alrighty, now a live look at our satellite radar out there. Nice evening, clear sky, so that's really going to help get really chilly tonight. We're having low temperatures below 5 degrees, around 0 to 5 degrees. A few people might slip into the negatives, but crystal clear behind us, and that is going to leak into our day on Wednesday. So you can see overnight tonight and into the early morning hours, maybe a few high clouds out there, otherwise pretty clear. Through our day on Wednesday, we stay mostly sunny. We'll have some clouds to the north, so we could see a few in the northern counties, and then that dips down a little bit as we head through the afternoon. Clouds get a little bit heavier as we head into your day on Thursday when we're watching the chance for some snow showers across the area. Right now, I can say it does look like the heaviest snow possibly going to be between Thursday evening into the overnight hours, but we will keep you updated as we learn more.
Valentine's Day is just around the corner, and if you haven't bought your sweetheart a gift, well, we'll give you an idea, or a sweet idea, next.
You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
the Dayton 24/7 Now News app, brought to you by the Jeff Schmidt Auto Group.
Believe it or not, Valentine's Day just around the corner. Tej Joshi shows us how you can get your sweetheart some sweet treats.
I want to tell you about a local bakery that you can get some delicious sugary treats from. It is called Sugar Needs, and take a look at some of these sweet treats that come from the team. Lisa Dupatti started this about 8 years ago, and what you need to know is if you go to their website, you can order not just sweets whenever you want, but you can also sign up for their Month of the Box Club. Here, if you follow me, we're going to go to our kitchen set because our friend Lisa, the owner of Sugar Needs, is here. And it's not just the subscription of the month box for January that you can get right now. Starting today, the special Valentine's Day box is available right now. Lisa, can you tell me, what do we have here?
We have turtles, chocolate, caramel, and pecans. We have our basic vanilla sugar cookie with buttercream. And then we have our red velvet vanilla swirl cake.
Of course, you can go support a local bakery by going online and signing up for this Month of the Box Club, especially for Valentine's Day if you want to get those orders in early. It opened today. And the last thing, before we wrap it up, I got to grab one of these cookies myself and enjoy. Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, now here is a look at that 7-day forecast. You can see a nice day on Wednesday. As we head into Thursday and Friday is when we will watch that system for the potential for some snowfall across the area. Right now, looking like timing is going to be in the evening on Thursday with the heaviest of the snow overnight Thursday into Friday. So Friday morning could be a bit of a messy commute. The good news is the weekend looks dry and maybe a little bit of sunshine after some flurries on Saturday morning, but temperatures still pretty frigid.
Man.
Yeah, it's not feeling good
Yeah,
outside.
with those wind chills, that feel like temperature is going to be terrible.
It's going to be gross, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, but as we head into